Here we go. How about a jumbo to start the day? That Z-Man shad fries. Look at that guy. Oh, big old one. We're gonna let him go today. But she is thick.
All right, in this video today for Fun Fishing Friday, I'm going up to the Poconos. Did a little bit of perch fishing, caught some jumbos, and I want to show you a little bit of the rods, reels, some different techniques I was using, how I found these fish, and what you need to be looking for when you get out there and fish for these pre-spawn big yellow perch. So stay tuned, watch the video. At the end of this, it's going to go through all this in detail. I'll go over exactly the baits I'm using, rod, reel, line, everything you need to know. So stay tuned.
Got another one. Look at that. Right in his mouth, right in his little beak. Such a pretty fish. They're so much fun to catch. We're going to get a pile of them today. But we're not keeping them. Don't feel like eating them. Or feel like eating them. Don't feel like cleaning them. So keep putting them back. It is at will. That little micro finesse shad fries. That's number 5 or 6 I think I've caught now. And another one. This guy's got something he's spitting up. I want to try to pull it up. Let's see what they're eating down there. Look at that. Look at him back in the water. Some kind of little invertebrates. See that? Right there. That's what they're eating, a bunch of them down there. They also like shad fries, if you didn't know. We got the Yampa loaded up. This is a big one. Another big one. Look at the size of that sucker. Big old yellow perch. All right, I found another group of them in a different area of the lake. Haven't fished this before. They're smaller here. I want to show you what they look like on the, get him back. Show you what they look like on the active target. So let me flip you around here. All right, so you can see we're out in 20 foot of water. Hang on a second. Let's see if we can find that group again. There they are right there. So you can see they're out in 20 foot. Just cruising around. There's a big group of them. Where'd they go? They're right kind of underneath the boat right this second. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can spin us around, find that group, because it's a big wad of them. This might be how it's showing up right this second. But there's a couple hundred of them down there. It's a big old, there they are. Right in here, you can start to see them. This fish though, just kind of working along. Hang on. Let me get kind of lined back. There's a pile of them right there. See that? You can see it almost looks like the bottom's moving. That's a much better look at them. So you can see right there, that's the big group of bunch of perch all over. They kind of look like they become one at the bottom, how they're moving, but they're just swimming around. That's what we want to get your little shad fries in front of. We'll see if we can get another one.
All right, now that you saw some of those fish I was catching, some of those big yellow perch, we're going to talk more details about what I'm using, rod, reel, and everything in between. So let's start with the bait. I showed this in the actual video. This is the shad fries right here. Z-Man Elastec, so you're not going to go through many of these. This is on the Z-Man micro finesse jig head there. I believe this is a 10th ounce. So it's a heaviest version they have of it in this size. It just threads right up on there. If you can see that, works really well. It's got a little subtle paddle tail. So if these fish, when you're throwing out there in front of the boat and you're just kind of swimming this, you want to keep this right above their head. That's one of the keys for catching these fish. I'm using 4-pound fluorocarbon line. This is Seaguar Gold. That gold label is super strong, very, very thin. In clear water, like the Pocono lakes you see a lot of times, definitely have to have that to really generate those bites. And that 4-pound line also lets you really kind of get your bait to float most naturally. If you start overpowering this, you put in 10, 12, something like that, this bait isn't going to swim right and you're not going to get as many bites because of it. So rod wise, this is a favorite. This is the Yampa, and this is actually a, let me get it all right there, hitting the ceiling. It's a 6'3" super ultralight, so it's very, very soft. When you see this right here, you'll see it bends really well. And what's important for that, when you want that roll out of flexibility in your rod, this is what really lets me load up with this light jig head and fire it out there. The other part of this that's important is having some Seaguar. This is 10-pound Seaguar Smackdown Flash Green braid. So sorry about that. I was kind of brain fog right there, but this is very good. It casts very far, being so thin. I wouldn't even mind dropping it down on these little ultralight setup to something a little bit lighter. But the 10 does a great job. You can connect it to the either 4 or 6 pound fluorocarbon leader. Very well, holds up. And then just a little ultralight reel that I'm using with it. But this setup right here, like I said, you can see it loads up really well. You can fire it a mile to get your bait out there. And that's what's really important for getting this out and away from you. Color wise, this is smelt. This does a really good job for imitating the little tiny shad or whatever your bait fish is in the area. If you have more bluegills, because they eat a lot of bluegills, go with something a little more green pumpkin, maybe a little bit of chartreuse in there. If you get some dirtier water, you might want to brighten it up a little bit, but this works really well for those yellow perch. And then I want to show you my second setup. This one here, it's a double shot, drop shot rig is what I got going. So you'll see here, once I get it all untangled, I got 2 drop shots, and these are Hayabusa hooks. They're size 2. It's just a drop shot hook. It's what I use for when I go smallmouth fishing. It's a number 2. It's the HD version. You don't have to use the HD version on the perch, but I do highly recommend it for the smallmouth. But it does a very good job. You can see it just kicks that bait right out there. This one right here is the Baby Ballers. This does a really good job of imitating little shad. It's got that ball on that end, so it actually gets a really subtle action. Color-wise, this is Fire Truce. I use this when I'm fishing dirtier water. And then if you go to the bottom drop shot here, I have the shad fries again, and this one is in Pearl Blue Glimmer. Got that little subtle action of the tail. Weight, this is, I believe, 3/8 ounce. That's just for when I'm fishing deeper. I want to get that bait down there because they're going to be pretty close to the bottom most of the time. If you have forward-facing sonar, I have a Lowrance active target. Really like to key in on those fish so I can make sure I'm putting this right on their nose, getting it down there quick. And when I throw this out there, I'm actually going to toss it, sink it down there. I'm just going to hold the rod tip. If I know I'm around those fish, just barely shake your rod tip. You don't want to put a whole lot of action into this. Almost less is more with the yellow perch, it seems like. The only thing I'll do occasionally is when I throw it out there, if they're not eating when I'm just holding it still and shaking it, I'll just slowly wind it into so it's barely moving across the bottom, ticking, and you'll catch either 1 or 2 at a time on it. It's a really nice little setup. I've done really well with it the last 2 years. This one here, it's a 701 medium heavy jackhammer. It's again a favorite rod. This one's a medium heavy is what they're calling it. It's still a fairly light rod when you see it. You're gonna overpower the perch for the most part with this unless you catch a true giant one. But if you're out there and you're actually just going trying to catch some fish for food to eat for the maybe a little fish fry or whatever you're doing, this is a great rod for it. Super light, comfortable to use. This is the Rush spinning reel. I have that again with that 10-pound Seaguar Smackdown flash green braid to this is actually 8-pound gold label Seaguar. So the combination of all that does a really good job putting those fish in the boat, and I highly recommend checking it out. Again, these 2 rods. So a little bit about finding these fish. They're gonna vary a little bit in depth. The best way to find these is actually start idling. You're gonna idle around, find those areas, usually right outside some grass lines. Maybe there's some old dead milfoil or hydrilla or whatever it is, and try to start looking in that 10 to 25 foot range. When I found them this particular day, they are more in that, I would say, 15 to 25 foot range. It'll vary a little bit, but they're not going to go far. What I found is over the past month, when you get to one lake or the other up there, they stay within a general half mile of itself or so. So you won't have to go crazy searching, but just idle along and you'll see on your side scan waves of it. And then once you see those fish, like you saw in the video earlier, use your Lowrance active target or whatever your forward facing sonar is, and you can stay right on those fish. It does a really cool job watching those fish come up after the baits and all that. So that's what I got for you. I hope that helps you find some of those fish. If you have questions, put them in the comments below. I'm happy to help out there, and look forward to getting back out on the water. Maybe I'll have another perch video for you here soon. I got some spots in the works of where I want to go. I just haven't actually taken the trip yet. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, and please tell your friends. See ya.